Welcome to Bass and Boundaries podcast. I'm your host, Amy G, and this is your one-stop shop for all things mental health and music. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bass and Boundaries. This is a wonderful Tuesday podcast, and I'm going to be doing this on my own today. I haven't done a solo podcast for a while, actually, and the reason I haven't done one is because I've just been inundated with requests for podcasts. And so the last few weeks has just been really busy. And I've not had time to sit and do my own content, which has led me to kind of neglect a lot of my umbrella of Bass and Boundaries. And I wanted to talk about it today as like a podcast episode, because when we're so busy, I'm going to show you my diary. Literally over the next week is absolutely rammed, and this week alone I've just done a podcast. I've got 3 more, and then I've got one on Friday, so that's like 4, and then I've got, I think, that one as well. And then next week I'm going into my kids' school, and I'm doing a presentation about my podcast and, teaching the kids that they can do anything at a young age. Like, whatever they put their mind to is there. And I think that we can do these things that we want to do and believe in ourselves, but we haven't always got that capability of believing in ourselves, which is what I wanted to kind of discuss this. So I have on my desk here, I have my wake up sticker in the morning to kind of like, I always have it on my desk because I need to snap out of being tired. But I've got things like, never get so busy making a life that you forget to never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. You are worthy of love exactly where you are. Please love yourself. Positive energy, that sort of thing, like everywhere. Yeah. And yet the past couple of weeks, I've not felt that at all. I felt actually extremely depressed. And I think this is like where the self-doubt and self-belief comes in, is exactly where we need to talk about this. So for instance, I make notes as I go along, by the way. So my self-belief system at the moment is actually kind of been renewed today. And the reason being is because, like I say, my diary's been full over the last few weeks. And then I've gone from having a full diary to kind of it teetering down a little bit. I went to Worried About Henry yesterday, or WAH, depending on how you call it. But basically, if you don't know what that is, it's a very unusual name for basically an all-day rave, and it's outdoors and it's awesome. And this is the in the city one. So it was at London Silverworks, and the day itself was incredible. I loved every second of it, but I am paying for it today. I'm so tired. But here's the thing. When I was there, I was living in the moment. I was around fellow ravers. I was around fellow musicians that just love you for just being there. And I felt so connected and so in need of that. And that's why I started this podcast, Mental Health and Music, because my mental health over the past 2 weeks has been horrendous. And it had taken such a dive. And then when you're around people that get it, and you have that dopamine, that oxytocin, you've got those beauty, that thing that drum and bass does to a person, pumping around your body, it doesn't matter. None of it matters anymore. And today I received a message of one of my favorite musicians in the entire world. Like, honestly, just made me cry, because I was like so emotional anyway, because I've been having a really tough time. And then another musician messaged me like, thanks for the shout out on the podcast. And I was just like, oh my God, these people listen to my podcast, who I aspire to, who I get so much inspiration off. 5X, prime example. He was the one that messaged me like, thanks for the shout out. I think it might have been the Ducks podcast. I gave him a shout out and I was like, no way did he listen to all of that. Me and him going on for 90 minutes. Amazing. Probably one of my favorites, actually. He was such a refreshing person to talk to. Well, I don't think I could pick a favorite though. I've got like each and every one has just been incredible. But you know, I've watched him from like 50 followers on TikTok to where he is now. And he remembered me being right at the start with him. And, you know, like just being and watching a musician go from a small element into beauty. I'm literally crying over this. This is like how much I love this, you know, doing what they do is just so beautiful to watch it. And I'm there with them. And I feel like I'm sharing that love with them, you know? And then I'm seeing people like, oh my gosh, I could go on, but like people like Andromedic, Mosey, you know, people that I have loved and watched since right back at the beginning. And they're headlining. And it's like, you're all amazing. And can I DJ? Not very well. I've tried. I have a SoundCloud and I will never share it. So don't even find it because it's embarrassing. When they say like, oh, I used to mix Clubland. It's so embarrassing. But but honestly, I wish I could do it, but I wanted to find a way to share in the drum and bass world without having to necessarily DJ. I would ask very politely if any of my musician friends are watching, can you teach me, please? I'd love to do it. But I do vocals. And, you know, I do slightly cringe when I was at WAR yesterday and I was filming it and I played some of the videos back and I'm singing over it and I'm like, ugh. It's different, okay, when you're listening to yourself back in like, because you're kind of shouting it when you're singing it again, because you think that the DJ's going to hear you. They're not going to hear you, FYI. But ultimately, like, you're in that moment with these people. And I just want you all to know that I care about all of you so much. And having, oh, why do I keep crying? Like, it's just been amazing. It's been an amazing experience. And I want it to continue. And I hope to get to headline as the #1 interviewer in the drum and bass world. I'm going to just put it out there and manifest it. Just help me out. Just help me out. Be with me from the start and watch me grow too, you know? Yeah, it's been, like I say, it's been a bit of a hectic time. But when I went quieter and I started to feel down and I started to feel those horrible things, you know, my grandma's been in hospital. That was like the big one for me. That's what started it all off. And then I found a lump in my breast 4 weeks ago. And I've been through this before. You go to the hospital, they do an ultrasound on it and they go, oh, it's just a cyst. And last time it was a cyst. And this time I thought it'd be the same thing again. So I didn't go with anyone. I went on my own. I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. And this was on Friday, just gone. And they said to me, we found a tumor. And I was like, oh dear. And then they looked at the other one and they said, I found another tumor. And I'm like, oh dear. And I didn't really know how to react. And then I was told I needed a biopsy. And I've never felt so vulnerable in my life in that moment. It's hard for me to talk about, actually. Oh, and my dog got attacked like last Sunday. I had to have surgery and I've had to pay for that. Like it's just been one thing after the other. But at this meeting, they were like, you know, we need to do a biopsy. And I'm like, no. Because I went into full denial mode and it's very normal. It's very natural. And I was crying my eyes out. I was very much like a frightened 5-year-old, you know, scared of being away from their mum, you know, that kind of thing. And I honestly kid you not, I've never been so terrified in my life. And I've gone through like some pretty dark stuff. And like, yeah, that was probably top tier. So I keep sniffing. I've got a really blocked nose, hay fever, and now I'm crying, you know. And I went through to the reception and I had to sit there, and there's a group of women in the room. I just broke down, totally broke down on my own. And everyone's got this like solemn vibe in there. Like everyone's going through the same thing as you. Like no one wants to talk. It was very much a solemn vibe in there. It wasn't very nice. And then you've got the BBC on the TV playing like just like and that was the one thing I was really like trying to distract myself. And it was this like negative story, negative story, negative story, negative story. And I'm thinking that's going to make people feel worse in that moment, you know. Maybe don't play the BBC in a cancer clinic, like just saying. And then I went in and I had it done, and there was this beautiful woman, this nurse, and she's from the Netherlands. And I was talking about my upcoming trip to Denmark and then go to, you know, to Belgium in the October. And, you know, we was having this amazing, beautiful conversation. And she, honestly, I believe that some women and men too, like on this planet, are literal angels. Like they are sent here to be just a beautiful collective consciousness, you know. And I can tell you now, she held my hand all the way through it, and I was on my own and I was crying and I was frightened, and it was over really quickly, probably 15 minutes, it was done. And now we wait. So when they just did a little sewing up job, she said to me, she said, and I quote, "Don't jump around on Sunday because you're going to cause a bit of, you know, problems." And did I listen? No, I did not. And I am in a lot of pain today, and I've bruised like a peach. Like I have a scar. I've got one here. It's really, really painful. And then one here, which is a lot of pain as well. And honestly, if you're a woman listening to this, please check your breasts, because, you know, I don't know if it is the C word. There is 50% chance that it is, but there's also 50% chance it's like called fibromyalgia, I think they're called, like fibroid tumors, which are benign. But obviously I don't know what they are, and they didn't know what they were. And there's two, one in there, one in here. They're both 1 centimeter tumors. And it's like, okay. And I was very open about it, and I've always been very open about it. And it was actually my mom. She was like, maybe you should take that down, like telling women to check their breasts because of tumors and stuff like that. And I was like, why? She was like, because there are people watching you that are going to laugh at you when it's not cancer. They're going to laugh at you. And what's your point? I don't care. Like, honestly, if I could put in a box, like a little, maybe if I put in a cup, actually, I love this mug, by the way. If my mouth doesn't say it, my face will, absolutely, because I have no poker face. If I put in this every time someone said to me, take that down off social media because someone's going to say something about you, I don't care. I literally do not care. Do you think DJs stopped going on the decks because someone told them their set was crap? No, they don't. They keep being consistent. They keep showing up. They keep doing these things. They keep writing the music, even though Aaron down the road said that, you know, his set is crap and whatever, or his song is a load of crap or whatever. When you have been around people your whole life that tell you that you shouldn't do something because of what somebody else might say, that's a you problem. That is an absolute fundamental you problem, because I don't care. Listen, I drop my kids off at school every single day. Me and the kids having a full-on rave to drum and bass in the morning, right? I do my best to provide for my kids. I do my absolute best to show up for them every single day. And I'm going into my kids' school to talk about being a DJ and doing a podcast, talking to drum and bass DJs and producers and people like that. Not the fundamental, and there's nothing wrong with fundamental normal jobs, by the way. You know, like when I was a kid, like careers day at the kids' school would be like police officers, firemen, ambulance technicians, teachers, you know, that sort of thing. But I'm doing something totally different. I want the kids to go, oh, someone's be sat in the classroom. I want to be a fashion designer, but my mum said it's not a real job. I want to do this, but such and such has said that's not the right thing to do. I want to tell kids it's okay to have a dream that's different to everyone else's. Like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. And, you know, I think for the most part, the beauty of life is that we're all different. We all do things, but we all go through stuff and we all go through depression. You know, you're telling me that every single musician I've ever met or had the privilege to talk to on this has not dealt with some form of mental health problem. I think you're wrong. I think everybody has. But that's what makes you human. That's what makes you real. And you know, trying to love yourself in a world where people haven't loved you is really hard. Trying to love yourself when you've never been shown what unconditional love is hard. But you show up anyway and you try. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. Listen, I'm sat here now wondering what's going on in my body. And if it is, I will fight it all the way because it would not define me as a person. It ain't going to take me either, not a prayer. And that's the attitude I want you guys to have, because we need to normalize going through medical stuff and it not be hush, hush. Oh, you can't talk about that. Because if you talk about these things, it becomes normal. That it's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to feel scared. And it's also okay to feel relief when it's not cancer or it's not something or it's not this. And actually, it's just something else that's treatable and manageable and will just make a full recovery just like that. You know, my body produces too much estrogen and, you know, that's pushing me into perimenopause. 35. I'm like, babes, I ain't got time for this. But however, I'm doing a lot of work to heal that and regulate my body and regulate my hormones. And I am actually seeing a difference. My skin is smoothing out. My mental health is a lot better. But I do think the last couple of weeks have been somewhat of a fluke because usually I'm a very positive person. But I became is it apathetic, where you don't care anymore? Like, you don't have any get up and go. You've got no love for life. You don't have anything to look forward to. And then today, it's like the universe clicked a light switch and brought me the right people at the right time. And, you know, 2 messages off musicians that I adore just put a spring in my step. And then a lady called Leona, she told me about this course she was doing, and I was like, look, mate, I ain't got no money. I'm absolutely skint, you know, I'm trying, but you know, it's not going very well. And she went, no, just come and sit in on this conversation. And just the things that she was saying was enough for me to go, I need to continue with this. I need to continue this fight. And so what is Base and Boundaries? It's me. My name's Amy. I am Base and Boundaries. I am a mental health and wellness coach. I actually coach musicians, funnily enough, but also regular people too that just need you. If you're burnt out, I'm here for you. If you need someone to just talk to, I'm here for you. But I also do this podcast. I also travel to meet beautiful people. I stand in crowds in a rave with people that we're all somewhat broken and we're just winging it in life. And I just sit with you and meet you where you are. And we make amazing, incredible decisions for you so you can live your best life, because we are in a society so much now where there's such an expectation to be perfect. There's an expectation to be, you know, if I've not got 20,000 followers on TikTok, I must be failing. If I haven't got 20,000 streams on Spotify, I must be doing bad. If I've not got X, Y, and Z, then I'm never going to be fulfilled. But most of the work starts within you. And if you're going to take anything from this today, take it from somebody that knows. Sometimes slowing down is a way to make paths for bigger things to come in. And I think slowing down's brought that for me. And I wanted to share that with you today because I think we're all in this rat race together. I don't think this should be the way that we live. I think we should live in slower paced societies unless you're at a D&B rave, but that's just the BPM, But I just want you to know that whatever happens, your best is enough. Even your worst is enough, because I meet people where they are, and you deserve to be met where you are. So if you're going to take anything from this today, I want you to have a think about this. Put it in the comments. I'd love to know what your feedback is on this. What's going well for you in life right now? What is genuinely going well for you? Let me know in the comments, and then I want you to tell me what's not going so well. Because when we start to think about what's not going so well, we come up with solutions. So that disappears. I'd love to know what you think. I love you all so much. I hope this wasn't too solemn and depressing. I'm just merely stating that I'm a real human being who also cries, who also gets sad, who also gets depressed. But it just takes one person to pick you up. I had 3 today, 3 people pick me up off the floor. And I will always be grateful for you. So thank you. And I'm going to go stop crying, go make my coffee, and just give myself a bit of a slap round the face. But thank you all for watching, and I hope this has been good for somebody out there. I love you all. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for listening, guys. You can find my podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, and don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. See you next time.